Hello and welcome to the WorldFire event. I am Atsidi Chavez, your host, and today I am here with Dr. Meyer, who came this morning, took the bricks down, unloaded the process with the students and faculty staff here at the University of Montevallo. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Meyer.
Thank you for doing this.
So, like I mentioned, you came here, you took the bricks, you went inside the kiln, and you took all the beautiful pottery that I'm looking right now. So beautiful. What was it like for this huge Among Us process and all?
Well, I always compare it. It's like 50% Christmas morning and 50% Pompeii. So a little bit of both. It's only 130 degrees in there, they informed me. So that's not. It's a little bit like a sauna, really. But I mean, obviously, what it's about is just this community that's behind me to the right here, and then the added project of WorldFire multiplies community times, exponentially. So we're so grateful for today, and we're getting some really killer pieces out of there too. So
I just saw some beautiful potteries, but what was your favorite one out of the potteries, if you can remember the kiln?
Oh boy. I was just saying it's like a Springsteen concert in there. It's like when you hit the 3-hour mark of all these great songs, and it's like you want it to go on, but you almost can't take the beauty anymore. I have a bunch of favorites. Actually, the favorite is a process that we just tried for the first time, thanks to our guest artist Wu Mangzhe from Taiwan, who does a process called firing down, which means you're reduction cooling the kiln. So it takes another 6 or 7 hours after you dog tired from firing it to do this, but we're noticing a big difference in the product. So it's about all those little tidbits that aren't so little when they play out in terms of the product. So
That's good. I know there was like 2 entrants, so the big one, you came to the front of the kiln, and then the other side. So was it more on the kiln side of the front or the side of the potteries?
At the very bottom is the firebox, which is the main way we introduce fuel to the kiln. So traditionally, the things in the firebox are really heavily hit. They're heavily. It's a high heat that you get, a big huge melt on the surface of the work, and so that's traditionally the case. And then as you go back, traditionally it gets lighter and lighter. This does not do that, and so this firing, and actually the ones we've been doing recently, we're getting as effective work from the back, and really some prime areas in the back of the kiln that we really have not expected before, and so that's exciting to see. Front to back, we've got some pretty nice results. So.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Dr. Myers. So I have a little sneak peek of Clemson. I don't know if you guys can hear us, but hey, Clemson.
John?
Yeah, there's Clemson. Oh, can you hear us?
I can't hear you.
That's good.
Yeah, we unloaded on Monday this past week. A lot of nice results. But a little hot in the front, more than we would like. But it was fairly even for such a tall cross draft kiln. It was about cone 11 everywhere except for the bottom, where 8.5, 9, which I expected kind of be cool, but making changes for the next firing, change the bag wall up a little bit, change how we stack. But yeah, there's some nice results. A lot of happy students. I have some items that were on my desk. Student with slip cast bones that came out really nice and beautiful flashing, and a lot of nice work. My first time firing the kiln, it went well. So yeah.
That's good. Would you ever want to do this experience again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 120,000%. I'm excited, looking forward to future events like this. Hopefully the goal is to fire our big kiln at the same time next time. because we also have an Anagama, but needs a little love and we need some community help. So
Yeah, join the club, John. You know, it does take the wear and tear on it, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Clemson. We'll be talking to you a few more minutes and all. Well, we wanted to also talk about your process of doing this event. So, like, the beginning till now, like, all of these people coming here, how does it feel to doing this?
Yeah, well, it's two events. It's the firing, and delighted to see John on there. I mean, right now, you heard him analyzing what came out of what part of the kiln, what worked, what didn't work. What if you could multiply that feedback, you know, times every kiln that's participating? You know, you increase your knowledge of your own kiln and also your peripheral knowledge of other kilns, and which is not typically possible. Hence the WorldFire approach. So we have two events here that are one inside of the other. One is just firing this kiln, and then the other you guys produced. My colleague Jay Cofield, who did probably for everything I know he did 20 things that I didn't know that to produce this event. It's not easy, and I realized we had 3 sites from China, and then we had Clemson and then us. But as we get together during the firing on the fly, you know, we're talking to each other about what's going right, what's going wrong, what could we change. And it just increases, you know, you see the community behind me, and of course that's part of it here. But we extended the community globally by doing this project, so we hope this is just the beginning.
So right now we're looking at the process of you guys breaking down the bricks and all and going inside the kiln. What was it like to see the final pieces, like the finished product of the kiln, and how was the process to that?
Yeah, you grab your first little looks at what you've got. So if you can compare it to Christmas morning, you know, maybe you took a little peek under the wrapping paper and you're not quite sure what you're going to get, but, you know, so it's that first little tentative peek at it. And first thing you see is, yep, we got temperature. The second thing you see is, yeah, we got surface. You know, this is a very energy expensive way to get things hot. So if we don't have the additional quality that wood fire produces, it's just an awfully difficult way to get things to temperature. So so the first thing I'm looking at is, yeah, we got it. You know, at least we got it in the firebox, and then we start working our way back and realize we have it throughout. So it's a big exhale.
Well, thank you so much. Right, so we're going to look at some collaborations of the video that they have done for us here at the Kiln's website as well.
How many sticks of wood are you loading?
We just put in. We just put in 6.
Okay, we just put in 5.
Yeah.
Nice.
Going good over there?
What temperature?
284.
How much?
How much?
284.
284.
284.
Oh dang, we're in the 1000s.
Oh dang. Oh wow.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We don't know if this is still fire rate.
Yeah, we're still going. We got a whole another day.
So will Clemson with us another day or they shut down?
We're hitting the peak pit tonight, and then we're going to, depending on the schedule, we're gonna like zoom in to like watch and see what's happening.
Are you going to shut down?
We're at about 2,000 degrees. It's cone 5 down, 6 is soft spaces.
We're keeping 11:20 for maybe one hour, and we're still moving higher.
Nice. We'll be done tonight around 10 p.m. Put cone 10 down everywhere, but we're gonna watch the end of the firings for everyone.
So that was a little collaboration video of the whole world kilns here across the world and here in the United States. So we're gonna go over to our Google Earth that we did. It's the website is WorldFires with the s.wordpress.com. So we're gonna take a little sneak peek of it right now. So Dr. Myers, obviously you know the kilns and all. So can you give us a brief summary of each of the kiln if you know about them and all?
Yeah, I know more about some than others, but obviously with John and Clemson, I guess we had the most dialogue. You know, I mean, part of it is this language thing, and you know, as well as, you know, you're tapping into something, you know, across the earth. So so a really sweet kiln that he fired for the first time. So you know, terrific results for him. And then Xiaoxing was very participatory, and we looked up throughout our firing and saw them. And there, you know, there were this. It's Professor Bai Ming is a wonderful artist over there, and obviously a terrific teacher, talking to his students as we did, and you know, so we tapped into them throughout their process, and of course we're talking about different kilns. Theirs is a trained kiln. That kiln's behind us here that we built here, so it has a different firing range and a, you know, cycle. So ours is the longest. So we had to figure out when do we want to tap into each other, when, you know, and we picked, okay, when we're all pretty much at temperature, because that's when stuff starts happening really. So anyway, that was exciting to see them. And then there was another trained kiln in Yixing, and I think there was some technical issues there. You know, the sound was tough. And so we're looking forward to tapping back into that site. And then I'm getting my kilns mixed up. Jingdezhen was the train kiln, and Yixing was the dragon kiln. And the dragon kiln, we got some cool shots of. Ours is about 40 feet long. Theirs is 150 feet long. We side stoked through 3 little ports and up the side of our kiln. They have 62. So there are a lot of differences in design and, you know, probably in outcomes. They did not choose to fire during our firing. You know, it's obviously a huge endeavor to fire a kiln that large. So we got some really cool shots that we saw. They took us on a tour. It looked a little like the Olympics, like the start of the games when you tap into different people and they, you know, talk about their site and, you know, say more or less hello world, you know. And then, of course, we did. So, so like I say, there was a range of responses based on, you know, some technical things and some language things. But, you know, all in all, a pilot project like this, if this were a firing as a pilot project, it ain't easy. And Mass-Com pulled this off. I mean, we fired our kiln. We've been doing it for 21 years. But this was an enormous venture for you guys at Mass-Com and for Professor Cofield. So we're really excited about the ability to expand community times, you know, however many kilns we can handle. So.
Well, thank you so much for that brief summary. So we're back with Clemson. So Clemson, how was the unloading process for you guys over there? Was it hard? Was it easy? What was that process for you guys?
It's usually pretty quick with a cross draft. Hardest part is getting the door and the shelves out. But a lot of hands to grab work, hand it off. Everyone gets to touch it, see it as it comes out. Seeing kind of the flame markings, seeing where the wood ash deposits are, and all those kinds of things, and seeing how the kiln fires and how stacking, you know, can change it and really like impact your firing. And so yeah, it's pretty quick. Longest thing is cleaning, really cleaning the shells, cleaning all the bricks, getting it ready so that when we get to the next time, we're not doing all that before we load. But yeah, it went well.
So we're going to look at some images that you guys submitted to us, and cannot tell you, it's so beautiful. I wish I was an artist, but I am not an artist. So can you tell us more stuff about the potteries and like how was the students' takeaway for that and like the process for them to do that for them as well?
Yeah. Some they weren't quite sure how everything was going to come out. A lot of questions on what glazes look well. There were discussions about making sure not to glaze all the way to the foot, some things like that. A lot of raw clay. As you see in this picture here, there was some glaze and some chino. The uribe looks amazing on that. Yep, on that jar. You can see some people glazed using what we call floating blues all throughout the kiln on the insides. A lot of slip work designs, but they really tried to, or I tried to get them to test as much as possible. Right, so like don't glaze in the same color. I try to use flashing slips, try to use chinos, try to use raw clay bodies in areas, different things like that. Mod Podge of clay bodies, porcelain, slip casting recipes. One of those images is a new porcelain that I've been working with that I like, specifically to get that pinkish flashing on there. But we ran into some interesting issues with some of the clays. There were some high iron clay bodies that were in there that ended up dunting, which is cracking on cooling, or you had some bloating issues. But like Scott was talking about earlier, it's like Christmas morning and the Pompeii. You get a lot of great stuff out, and then there's a high loss rate. And I think the students really, they have their favorite pieces that came out, and they're that like, wow, this piece is so beautiful that they don't even care about the other ones that they lost. And so that's been really nice. A lot of them are really pumped. They're like, are we going to do it again? I go, yeah, we got to start splitting wood.
Well, talking about students, we're going to have a quick commercial break, and we are going to do an interview with Jada Bryant, who is a student here at the University of Montevallo, and we're going to talk about some of her artists and what was her process about this. Stay tuned, you guys.
Hi, my name is Jada Bryant. I'm an art major, and this is my junior year. My favorite thing about the Anagama kiln is the results once the pieces come out. My inspiration, I don't really have many. I just kind of go with the flow with it. My process typically is I'll start with the sketch, and then I'll go from the sketch of creating a mock-up, and then once that is approved, I'll go to making the final product. This is for our final project, and we have to make a portrait bust, basically to represent ourselves, but we also have to throw like little symbols in there that can like portray our personality a little bit more. So I have a succulent on the top, and it's to represent like being a low maintenance type of person. Like I don't really require much. I just kind of enjoy life as is. And then I'm gonna put a butterfly on the top, and that means, rebirth, just evolving in life and becoming a better person. And then at the bottom will be a planter to hold the entire head, and it's basically just about growing and, being better. Yes, so that piece was actually for my vessels project that we have to make in the hand building class for ceramics. And for that, I wanted to create a space where it looks like as if someone is coming out of like a dark world. And it's just really about like, I guess like that phasing in your life, if you will, where like you may be going through bad times, but in the end, like there's always a way out. Like you can always get out of it and prosper.
And we're back. And we're back with our most interesting and Jada Bryan. So, Jada, what was it like to do this experience, to do this event with your school and with your professor, Dr. Meyer? Because obviously he was an impact for you. So, what was it like to do all of this experience and all?
It was like super exciting, and it was definitely a lot of hard work. This is probably by far like one of the coolest ceramics experiences I've ever had. Like I've never got to do anything like this before until I came to Montevallo. So yeah, it was overall definitely enjoyable. I'd do it again. It's so much fun. And if you haven't done ceramics, do it so you can have an experience with the Anagama kiln for sure. It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
So I am not an artist, but you have a piece with you. So can you tell us what was the process and what was it like to do this piece and looking at your piece coming out of the kiln? Obviously that's kiln is really, really hot. So how was that process of you doing that till right now? And what was your biggest takeaway of this piece and all?
So for this piece, it was kind of one of the easier pieces to do because this was all like built by hand. It wasn't like I had to throw in the wheel or anything. Going into the kiln, I just kind of like hope for the best. Like I actually put the glazes on there. I was like, okay, I hope this is gonna look good. And then with the effects of the Anagama kiln, kind of have like that ash like texture on it and stuff. And then like the glazes turning to different colors. Yeah.
So with the kiln and like potteries, what was obviously besides your favorite pottery, but what was yours out of the people giving you the hands? Because I know you guys were still doing the unloading process. So like, what was one that you loved about the most?
It's hard to choose. It's hard to choose because it all looks so good. Oh man, I can't. That's a difficult question to ask. Yeah. Oh, I have to say overall. I can't pick. Yeah, overall.
Well, that's good because, like, I've seen, like, right now, as you can tell, you guys are looking at the potteries. Like, there's, like, a lot of cups, a lot of mugs, a lot of pots, and a lot of babies and all. But looking at these, is there other pieces that you did besides this?
Yes. Actually, I did the little small cloud platter right there. You probably can't see it because it's, like, all together. Sorry. I put, like, a cloud, what is it called? Copper grape. And it's, like, supposed to be, like, a purple and bluish color, but it turned out to be more purple, but just fine, because we like those happy accidents, and we just kind of go with the flow.
Well, I'm no artist, but these are so beautiful. If I was doing one, I would not make one. It would be all melted by the first thing and all, but thank you so much for joining us, Jada. We do appreciate you guys doing this, and obviously, this beautiful artwork, and obviously this too, mermaid, obviously I am a fan of this, not gonna lie, but there's beautiful potteries and all that stuff as well. So we'll be looking at some more images of Jingdezhen, who has submitted their photos and all to us. So right now we're going to look at Xiaoxing's unloading of this process. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, nice to come back, and here is the uploading time.
Here are the works of the third layer.
These are the works on the top floor and the second floor, and we think the top floor is better. And we've already got enough plates that we want. As you can see, this one is already glazed before the wood firing, and this one is not with the glaze before our wood fire.
But this one is about the fourth layer of the works.
The fire inside is really smooth, and we think the fire outside is a little bit influenced by the earthenware because they are all melt. They can't stand the temperature that high, so the fire, the way the fire goes is a little bit influenced. And here is an example. You can see the glaze. We have full glaze now, and this one is without glaze before firing. And for the temperature, we've got the coins here. We use coin 7, 8, 9, and 10, and they're all melt.
Look at this layer, it's about the fourth layer. You can see some works, they are just collapsed. Here are almost all the works of this firing, and you will see the results. You can see like these ones, white ones, they are glazed, and like these works are unglazed before firing, and different. You can see different clays. They make different effects. Like this one, they are made of stoneware clay, and others the clays they are just mixed. And you also see some works that it's not that good. They just stick on the shelf, but the result is good. You can see some like some materials, they just stay on the surface.
And we're not so satisfied with the result because we think the temperature is a little bit high, and you can see the glaze shining. And if the temperature is not so high, they won't shining like this. And we think that will be a better result for us. This is the work under the chimney, and we think we've got a really good result here. And also these two pieces of work.
And we're back. Thank you so much, Xiaoxing, for that beautiful video and all. I am here with Madeline, who is another student here at the University of Montevallo, and she brought us some of her artwork. So, Madeline, tell us these beautiful arts that you have right here. Obviously, there's 3. So, what was the process of each one of them? Which was the biggest takeaway? What was your experience doing the Kiln event and the WorldFire, and also with other people as well?
Yeah, this has been... Well, this is my second year participating in the Anagama, and every time I took a kiln shift, every piece I get out of it, I learned something new. So these are just the ones that I've gotten out so far. I should have like 5 or 6 more that come out of the kiln, and they all turn out so different, and that's because of like their location in the kiln, the glaze I put on it. But yeah, it's a really amazing process, and it's a great time to like collaborate with other artists and just learn from each other.
That's good. So talking about the glaze part, so what was it like to look at it in the beginning like, I hope it will come out really great, but what was that process of like thinking of like, oh, I hope it comes out really beautiful, but actually they turned out really well, so beautiful.
Well, thank you. It's definitely a high risk, high reward kind of situation. You know, some things I'm not crazy about, some things I actually refired because I didn't like them beforehand and I like them better now. But I actually had to like take photos and keep notes of what glaze I put on everything because I didn't do that last year, and I think it kind of hindered me this year because I didn't know exactly what results I would get. So yeah, it was just nice to like keep track a little bit better this year of what I was going to get.
Okay, so besides the Alabamian, obviously you're a staff member there. So what was your major and what was it like to do this outside of your major and all?
Yeah, so I'm actually an art major. MMJ is my minor, and that's kind of how I was able to be editor-in-chief of the Alabamian this year. So I do have my love of journalism, but this is where my heart lies, if I'm being really honest. So having to kind of decide what to pursue was really difficult, but that's why I really enjoyed seeing what's happening this year, the collaboration between art and journalism. It's been great to see.
Well, thank you so much. Obviously, they're still unloading more potteries. Hopefully, we get to see yours soon because I'm really excited. But I've been seeing so many beautiful art pieces coming out, and you guys killed it. Like, for real, you guys did amazing. And honestly, like the shift. So what was it like, the shift like, obviously?
Yeah, it was different. Every shift I took was totally different than the last one. I think I did a total of 5 shifts, so a total of 20 hours working at the kiln. And that's not including the time that I would just come and hang out and check on things. But as the firing process went on, it got far more intense. My favorite thing is side stoking, so I would be up on the side of the kiln throwing wood into our side ports. And it can be really intense, but it's so much fun, and I felt really confident going into it because of like my experience last year and the people I had here to kind of lead and guide me on how to do it safely.
Well, thank you so much, but we are still going to do a different shot of the kiln and all, so we're going to let you guys see the unloading of the process of the kiln right now. As you can tell, they're on the other side of the kiln. They're not in the front this time, but they're on the other side, and there's still beautiful artwork coming out. Obviously, as you can tell, there's cups, some different abstracts of art and all, which is even really beautiful and really excellent. And so far, so good. I've been seeing so many beautiful art. Like, some people have blue colors because of the glaze. Some has, like, little designs of their pottery and all. But it's so beautiful. And I've been loving this process of you guys doing this. And honestly, I might buy one, not gonna lie, because they're so beautiful. So, yes. They're so beautiful. There's one about a fish that I'm looking right now that they just handed someone to the inn. And it's a unique fish and all, which I can never, honestly, as you can tell, I cannot do art, as you can tell. Like, I cannot do art. But there's also, like, the beginning of the unloading process in front of me as well, like the cups and, like, some plates and all, a bowl, and the glaze of these beautiful things and all. But you know more than this, as you can tell. So what was it like to do the unprocess of the kilns to right now?
So from beginning to end, I think my favorite part is seeing, like, how someone expects their work to come out versus how it actually comes out. It is, again, a high-risk, high-reward situation. So the people who are happy with their pieces are so happy with their stuff. And I think it's also really cool to see that, like, you can have pieces with the same glaze and they're, like, the same clay body, but they turn out very differently based on where they were in the kiln and where they are, like, what temperature they're fired at. We also did a reduction cooling this year with the kiln, which we had not done in previous years, and I think that brought out some really amazing, like, unique features in some of this work.
All right, well, thank you so much, Madeline. I am so excited to look for your other artworks and all. Well, thank you so much. I'll give this back to you, and our next interview is our former, obviously, a student here at the University of Montevallo. Olivia, can you come over here, please? Thank you. You want me to hold one? Oh, ooh, this is a little warm right now. Ooh, it just came out of the kiln, as you can tell. But obviously, a student here at the University of Montevallo, this big experience, this big event for you. How was it the takeaway? What was the experience like here at the WorldFire event?
Well, this was my first Anagama. So I had 2 shifts. It was both like 1 to 5 a.m. shifts, so it's when everyone's delirious and you have to keep it going. And the first night, very calm. There's not much to do other than keeping it stoked. But the last night, I also did the last night, and it's like 2,400 degrees. You open the thing, your neck starts burning, and you're like, what am I doing? But then you see the work that you have out there, and you're amazed, completely amazed. So overall, I think it was a great experience. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's 2 weeks of, well, really 3 weeks of loading, firing, and then waiting to get it out. And I enjoyed it, personally.
Well, as you can tell, there's some pottery in our hands, and also what was the design? What was going in your mind? I'm like, I'm just going to do this and this pottery, or I'm going to do this and this one, or like, what was the takeaway, and what was like your biggest fear that your pottery was going to come out of the kiln?
Well, broken. I was terrified it was going to be broken because my stuff, or like stuck to someone else's. But I also do printmaking, so I like to incorporate textiles and printmaking tools whenever making my pieces. So I was just hoping that it'd pick anything it could up from the fire. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. I think it looks good.
I was going to say, I love the coloring of this one, the blue and the brownish colors, but yours is different from some of them. So I know there's a difference between the glaze, but what is this called?
I have stain, I believe, I have stain. This is blue stain, this is rutile stain, and then that is rutile stain. So the rutile has more of a metallic brown shine to it, while the blue is this nice, really deep, almost turquoise color, or vermilion. I love it. I was worried that the glaze wouldn't pick up enough, so I wanted to let the natural clay body really do its job, and I think it did.
So obviously there's 3 of these beautiful artworks and all, but what was this meaning to you? Like, what was like this going in your mind? Like, I'm doing this such and such, or like, what was the significance of these artworks?
Experimentation and trying out new things. I'm new to ceramics myself, so trying to get anything out there and finding whatever outcome I can is very exciting to me, and I enjoy it thoroughly. So.
Well, thank you so much. And as you can tell, there's still continuing the unloading of the WorldFire kiln here at the University of Montevallo. So we're going to go next to the Anagama video, so stay tuned with that.
My name is Arabella Cortez. My major is in art. I don't have a concentration. God was needing people to help out, and I love being involved in the arts. I was really into ceramics. I wanted to help out, and I honestly wanted to have this like experience of being close to like this 1,000-year-old tradition. So I was like, can't be bad helping the Anagama. So that's what I did. So I signed up for a shift, a 4-hour-long shift, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And all I did was stoke the flames in the Anagama every 5 minutes at like different intervals, and put into different amount of wood in like different holes at the side of the kiln. That was basically my job. So if I'm gonna tell you, if you want to be helping out the Anagama next year, be prepared. Be involved with the art community, because there's so much things to do, and the Anagama is just one tiny thing you could do. There's so much other opportunities to do. So yeah, be involved.
Well, thank you so much for that beautiful video and all. So we're going to talk about more specifically about the artwork, and what were your comments about this artwork as well?
Sure. Yeah, I've been watching this stuff come out. I usually don't get this vantage point because I'm usually in the line or in the kiln. So it's been cool watching them go past. And I was reflecting on some of the things that John said. And, if you wanted to list the various factors that contribute to how these things look, I mean, you start with clay body. What does the clay consist of? Where was it from? What location in some cases affect it? How do you glaze it? What surface do you put on it? What texture is on it? Then you get into where it is in the kiln. Somebody just scored. Then you get into where it is in the kiln. What was next to it in the kiln? We load this kiln for a solid week. And part of the reason we take so long is because every artist here, every student here has aims, creative goals that they have, and we're trying to help them reach them. And so it's about where it is in the kiln, and like I say, what's next to it, and so forth. So it's this alchemy of all these different factors. Then you get into the actual stoking of it, like you just saw. And, we had a really good student participation this time. They were just on it hour after hour and day after day, and really proud of that, proud of them, because that's why this has, been a success. But what kind of wood are you stoking? We stoked mainly pine, but we had oak this time. What procedures are new to us? We reduction cooled for the first time. It's my first time this time. And so, you know, what did I just list? About 10 different factors, all of which could contribute to how the things look. And then there's just flat out luck, or things that are beyond our reach or our understanding. And I guess that's where the alchemy comes in. And if you look over the arch of the kiln, you see a couple of what we call kiln guardians. And, of course, creative people standing around with a bunch of clay in their hands tend to make stuff. If things are out of your control, you need a good luck charm or something to look after the kiln when we can't. And so those little usually they're little beasts or little, figures of some kind, and they're just kind of a whimsical thing. But it taps into your spirituality sometime, because you have so much riding on these things, and your own work and everyone else's. So it's just an amalgamation of all the things and all those factors I just listed.
So you just mentioned about stoking. So what is stoking, and what is the process of like the beginning to end of it?
Yeah, stoking, that's a good one to follow throughout the process, because it is 100+ hours of, for our firing cycle. And we actually start the flame outside of the kiln, because just inside of that firebox at the bottom is actually work. And we don't want to crack it by thermal shocking, so we start a little flame outside the kiln. And I've described the process to people as, like a barrage. And they look at it and they see a little flame. It looks like something you'd sing Kumbaya around. And they're like, well, where's the activity? But it picks up from there, and we inch the flame inside of the firebox over the first couple of shifts. So about 8 hours into the firing, we're inside the kiln, and then it's about building up a coal bed. And so we're really stoking that for about a day and a half just in the firebox at the bottom. And then we start side stoking, and that adds to the choreography and activity that's around the kiln, because there are 3 corridors that go through the, I guess the best way to understand it, if the kiln were a loaf of bread, you would not have a slice in 3 different areas up the side of the kiln. So in other words, no work is in those spots. It's like a corridor that goes through. And that is our resident YC that's discovered something. But anyway, it's a little archaeological dig. But anyway, we start the side stoke, and that means putting wood in the side as well. And so that continues for the rest of the firing. So it's a real specific and almost a military operation the way we do it. You have to do it. You have to pay attention. You can't drift mentally for a second. And it's a little bit like a game, And when you're on the field, you better have your head in it, And so the person that's stoking, throwing wood in the bottom, calls the shots. That's the quarterback. And then we side stoke back to front. And it's a specific pattern that we follow. And so you can do it once, you can do it twice. We have to do it for 2.5 solid days. So, 55 hours of doing that.
So you mentioned about the oak wood stoking. So what is that process, and like a more depth of that definition as well?
Yeah, I understand there's a kind of a facsimile of our kiln log, which we keep. So every hour we write, whatever factor's going on at the time, whatever's influencing the firing, we keep a log. And it's sort of like a journey on a schooner or something. You sort of keep a captain's log of what's going on, and then that helps us understand what happened. So about a day and a half, I guess it was up to the 2-day mark, we get the wood from different places. We have a great company that supplied most of this, which we're really grateful to Gray Landscapers, because they just, gave us most of this wood. But we had about 3 cords of oak, and that's a significant amount of wood. And we split it, and it burns hotter, but it doesn't burn fast. And so that's the difficulty of stoking with oak. It does give you a different color range sometimes, and so there's that. And so day 2, at the end of day 2, I threw the first little bit of oak in, because I wanted to know what it would do. Because if it doesn't burn fast, I've got a whole different way of approaching the end game. So I had him throw some oak in there and see how it burned, and it exploded. It was just bang, it gave up all its energy in a hurry. when I saw that happen, I knew we were okay, because we stoked the oak, got crazy temperature, and then finished it out with the pine. So, so decisions like that, and then with the WorldFire component to all of this, I just listed 10, 12 variables. There are probably a lot more that I didn't. But if we enter a dialogue with these other kilns, see the outcomes of them. You heard John talking about, there was some bloating here, there was this and that. We increase our peripheral vision, exponentially by talking to each other. This is a community that you see behind me. Multiply it times the world, because that's what we just did. And so our way of learning, is just going to increase dramatically, I would think. So.
Yeah. Speaking of the world, Clemson, what are your final thoughts of this experience that you guys did, and what was the takeaway? And obviously, you just said 1,000% you will do this again in the near future, but as well, will you do it again with the WorldFire as well? It's muted, Clemson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Beautiful introduction as well, but we got you.
Yeah, 1,000% firing with the WorldFire again. Listening to Scott talk about firing with pine primarily, and supplementing a little bit with oak. With us, it was oak all the way to the end. I fired past kilns, and I used 100% pine. It makes these changes, but it's really interesting to hear that someone else is firing in the same way, was using oak, and going, oh yeah, we can use this, and hearing these results and seeing some of the pots as they came out, and picking up information. Even just seeing the video of, I believe, Yixing, I could see that they have elephant teeth, is what they're called, in the arch of their kiln, which is brick that is set farther in, so it kind of has dips and extrusions of brick. And it's really interesting to see that, because I've seen that on a few kilns, but it really helps flame move and make flame marking through the top of the kiln. And so just being able to see that little point is huge to me, because it's just it's more information I'm filing. It's constant filing of information, and it's really exciting to be a part of this, and to expand and grow is what I think Scott's wanting to do too, and I'd love to be a part of it.
Well, there's your answer right there. So what are your final thoughts with that as well?
Well, my final thoughts are thank you, John, because that was the right answer. That was the one I wanted to hear, because we had a blast doing it. It's also, I guess wrapping it up, it's also fun. It's also, being a part of a team, and extending the team past what's located in a particular spot. It just multiplies the fun, and also multiplies, like I said, our understanding of what we're doing. We're going to look at this. I'm looking at the survey of some of it on the screen now, and so we're going to analyze that, just like John's approach, and what worked, what didn't work, and so forth. So, this is just a start.
It's just a start here at this small city in Montevallo. Well, I want to say thank you so much, you guys, for participating and for doing this experience, obviously, with us. And to look more information, go to worldfires.wordpress.com. And we want to take a moment to look at the potteries that they unloaded for the last time here at the University of Montevallo. Take a look.